Welcome to our third turnover analytics tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to use a very cool tool called survival analysis. This tool is particularly interesting for analyzing turnover because it helps you analyzing data where the outcome variable is the time until the occurrence of an event of interest happens. In this case, employees leave in the company. So we're going to start with our Excel database. This is the database we were using before. I just created a new variable above 6 months of experience because we saw last time that seems to have an effect. I only did that with an if formula. If months of previous experience is more than 6, then 1, and if not, 0. We're going to also categorize the interviewing score, but we will do that in R Commander. I'm going to show you how to do that. First, let's filter the data that we're interested in. We're going to filter only the ones that we want to consider and people who did make it to training. So let's copy that data and to a new Excel spreadsheet and save it. Now we're going to open R Studio and R Commander. If you need information on how to install those and load them, there are a lot of tutorials on the internet available. So now let's load the data. You go to File, Data, Import Data, and then from Excel File, and let's name our data here. Then you hit OK, and now if you go to first select the file. Now if you go to View Data Set, you can see your database. And let's start with creating the variable I mentioned, the category for the interviewing score. So you go to Data, Manage Variables in Active Data Set, and Recode Variables. You select the variable you want to transform or convert or recode, in this case interviewing score, and you start typing the new codes. So 5 equals low, it has to be inside quotations, and let's also name the variable for future reference, enter and category. And so you typing the next of the next score: 6 low, 7 mid, 8 mid as well, and 9 high. You hit OK, and then you have your variable transformed. If you go to View Data Set, you'll notice that you already have it there. Let's go to the right. There you have it. And we're also going to transform the other variables we have as 1s and 0s. Our commander is identifying them as numerical variables right now, and we need them to be factorial variables or categorical variables in order to do our survival analysis. So you go to Manage Variables and you click on Convert Numeric Variables to Factors. Select the variable, type in a new name, and hit OK, and then you have a new variable with categories instead of numbers. Although it will be the same number, 0 and 1, but it will read it as a category. I'm going to pause the video and do the same for the rest of the variables. We have here currently studying, and if they have more than 6 months of experience previous to coming to a company. Now let's do the survival analysis. We go to Statistics, Survival Analysis, and then in the top left corner you select the time period. We're going to use weeks employed. Here in Event Indicator we're not going to use it because all of them left the company, so we don't have that event there, but we already have the time they were there. We hit OK, and now you have the first survival analysis. This is only the frequency and when people are leaving, and you get a 25 percentile, a 50 percentile, and 75 percentile. It's like a scenario or a projection of how people will, how much time people will remain in the company. And there you have the survival analysis. And so now there you have it. There you have the graphic and the numbers. Let's now do the same analysis, but including the variables we just considered and transformed. Let's start with statistics, survival analysis, estimate survival function, and now here in Strata, we leave the same here. And Strata, we're going to use the high school. If the person has a high school diploma or not, it's the one that we transform to be a factorial or a category variable. We hit OK, and now you have it. So there's a little bit of difference between the people who do have a high school diploma and people who don't have a high school diploma. The tendency is to remain longer in the company if you do have a high school diploma. And here on the left in the RStudio screen, you can see the numbers, 25, 50, and 75 percentile. So people who do have a high school diploma are likely to stay from 4 to 16 weeks in the company. Now let's do the analysis again, but with the different variable. Let's go to statistics, survival analysis, estimate survival function, and now let's use the let's see if there's a difference if people are currently studying. So we select that variable, we hit OK, and there you have it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of difference from people who are studying and people who are not. People who are not studying tend to remain a little bit longer, but given the conditions in the labor market, we're not sure if we can do something about it. So now let's do the analysis again with a different variable. Statistics, survival analysis, estimate survival function, and now let's select the interviewing. No, let's select if they have more than 6 months in the company. And let's look for the graphic. Here it is. There's a huge difference between people who do have more than 6 months of experience and people who don't. If you see the hard numbers, people who do have more than 6 months of experience are likely to be from 10 to 26 weeks in the company. There's a huge contrast in there. Let's then analyze, let's do another survival analysis and check for the interviewing score category. Okay, this is a little bit more confusing, and it seems I made a mistake. I forgot to include the 10 in the high category, so I'm gonna pause it and fix it. It's already fixed. You just go to manage variables inactive, recode variables as well, and include the 10. And so there you have it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of difference in the graphic. However, people with high interviewing score tend to remain longer. That's confirmed here in the hard numbers. High interviewing score from 6 to 16 weeks. and then the rest, there doesn't seem to be a lot of difference. It looks like we're really good at identifying people with who are highly qualified candidates, but not so good to identify the others. Now let's do again a survival analysis, but this time we're going to include more than one variable. We get to the same thing, and using control and the right click of the mouse, you can select multiple variables. We're going to select if they have a high school diploma, if they've been longer than 6 months, and the interviewing score. And we have all those three. We hit OK, and then you have the graphic. It's not that clear, but there seems to be a trend there. Maybe it's easier if we analyze the hard numbers. To grab the numbers that RStudio gives you and put them in Excel in a spreadsheet. I've sorted them out and from highest to lowest, and then the highest are the ones who have a high school diploma, have a high interviewing score, and have more than 6 months of previous experience, and also the same with the medium score in the interview. However, there seems to be also a high score, a high probability of remaining in the company for people with low interviewing scores. As I told you, we might need to revise our recruiting process, but this is definitely insightful. As I mentioned, it looks like we're really good at identifying who's a good candidate who can remain longer than 12 weeks. That's our break-even point. So let's do the same analysis, but now let's include only 2 variables to make it a little bit more clear. Let's go to survival analysis, and let's only use the high school diploma and 6 months of previous experience. We hit OK, and then you have the new graphic. There seems to be a huge difference now. The highest being the ones who have a high school diploma and have more than 6 months of experience, and the lowest the ones who don't have both of the variables. So here you can see a huge gap, and if we go to the numbers, people with no high school diploma and no previous experience from 2 to 5 weeks, and people with previous 6 months of experience tend to remain longer as well. That seems to be the driving factor in our analysis. And so let's go again and analyze that and compare it against the interviewing score. Let's include interviewing score and the 6 months of experience. Go to statistics, survival analysis, and there you have it. There's again the same trend, and the highest are the ones who do have more than 6 months of experience and have a high interviewing score. But low also seems to be a good predictor. So as I said, and I'll repeat it, we're really good at identifying the top candidates. So there you have it. That's the survival analysis. As you saw, you get really powerful insights from it. That's the end of this section. Thank you for watching.